Hello and welcome to the Lyman Wolf Podcast. I am your host, Raceland, and I'm joined today by my co-host, Nate. What's going on, dude?
Not much. Ready to talk about some spooky shit.
Yeah, and that is why we're here, and we also have a special guest. Go ahead and tell everybody who you are.
Hey, it's me, Ty, Spooky Stands. I've been on the show a couple times, and I'm back to talk about some spooky stuff, Nate language.
What? Nate language?
Yeah, he said the S word.
Oh no, we don't fucking cuss on this podcast, okay?
I thought we didn't swear. I thought this was a family show. Okay, fine. Fuck it. Let's go.
Whoa.
The things we're going to be talking about certainly are family friendly.
No. And
Yeah, right.
no, I think, Ty, you're the perfect guest for this episode, seeing as that this is all about Halloween, and you are the Spooky Stands. You love Halloween. What makes Halloween your favorite holiday?
I don't know. I like fall, the season. The leaves changing colors. I like pumpkin flavored stuff. I like candy. I like scary movies. I don't know. It's just the perfect time of year for me.
I agree. I think this is my favorite time of the year. One, like everything you just mentioned. And two, that miserable summer's over. If you don't know, I hate summer. So this is when it finally gets to good season.
Agreed.
Yes. Nate, you like Halloween pretty well, right? Would you say this is one of your favorite holidays?
Halloween is my second favorite holiday because I love costumes and masks.
That makes sense. You do love dressing up, and then never leaving your house.
Yes. It's purely for my own enjoyment.
But today we're going to be talking about specifically Halloween movies. Now, the title of this podcast is actually Halloween Season Movies. The reason Halloween Season Movies. The reason why I didn't want it to be just Halloween movies is because I wanted this to be not focused solely on, has to be about Halloween. It's just the type of movies you watch during this season. It could be family friendly, it could be a scary movie, it could be a horror movie. It's just, as long as it's something that most people watch during Halloween, it counts. You kind of agree with that, guys?
Yeah, like Halloween Town.
Sure. Isn't that a Disney original movie?
Yes.
I think my wife likes that movie.
Yeah.
So,
I like Halloween Town 2, Calabar's Revenge. It's pretty good.
I think they go on like 5 other Halloween Town.
I think I watched those as a kid. I haven't seen those in, so many years. Anyways, so we're going to go ahead and start into our top 5 Halloween season movies. And since you're our guest, Ty, how about you go ahead and go first?
Well, all right. All right, so number 5 on my list is it's a movie called Trick or Treat. Not Trick or Treat, Trick or Treat.
Like
Trick
Toys R Us. Trick or Treat.
Trick or Treat. It is a 2007 American anthology horror comedy film written and directed by Michael Dougherty, if I'm saying that right, who went on to direct Godzilla King of the Monsters.
Okay, now I'm understanding why. I've never heard of this.
Makes more sense. But I have heard of this, actually. I was actually was thinking about watching it Wednesday, but then ended up watching Haunted Mansion instead.
Now, Nate, I think you would like this movie.
Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
I was just going to make a comment before we start diving into our movies. I forgot to mention, I wanted to limit this to 1 per franchise. That way we don't have, there's 18 or whatever. There's so many Friday the 13th movies. I didn't want to list a 5 Friday the 13th movies, something like that. You know what I mean? So 1 per franchise. So
For sure.
All right, go ahead and talk about this Trick or Treat.
So, it's an anthology. So you get a couple different stories. It's not just the one movie, but they all kind of have a similar, like a through line that connects all the stories together. And it really just captures the spirit of Halloween. And it's funny and it's gory. And yeah, there's really not much to say about it because I don't want to spoil it for you guys. But
well, what's the general idea of what is it kind of about? Can you give us like a quick synopsis?
It's basically it takes place on Halloween night in the fictional town of Warren Valley, Ohio, and then the plot follows basically a non-linear narrative with characters crossing paths throughout the film. But at the center of the story is Sam, who is this. It looks like a little kid wearing a burlap sack over his face, carrying a piece of candy, but there may be more to him than that.
Oh.
So he appears in all of the shorts and is the star of one of the shorts. I think it's pretty good. It's kind of like a lot of dark humor in it. Anna Paquin.
Oh, I know
think that's
her.
how you say her name.
That's
Rogue,
Rogue.
from
Yeah.
she's in the movie.
She's also in.
Um,
Isn't she also in? Was it Vampire Diaries? I think.
She was in True Blood. I
That's
never
what it
watched
was.
True Blood.
True Blood. I
But
knew she
she's
was
in
one
it.
of those like big time characters in one of those like HBO
And then
shows.
the other guy who's in this movie that you might recognize, Dylan Baker, who I was looking at while I was watching the movie, and I recognized him from somewhere, but I couldn't figure out who it was. And he was Dr. Kirk Connors in the Sam Raimi Spider-Man movies.
Oh, okay,
Okay.
cool.
So a lot of familiar faces, not necessarily big name actors, but like it's pretty good. I think it's a good watch, and it's perfect for the Halloween spirit.
And when did you say this came out?
2007.
Oh wow. Okay. Yeah, I'd never heard of this movie, ever. That's crazy. Cool.
Yeah,
Give it a watch.
definitely. I was very interested. The only reason we didn't watch it on Wednesday is because my dad's not really into that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And we watched it as a family, so we
Okay.
watched Haunted Mansion as a family.
Fair.
You talking about the Eddie Murphy Haunted Mansion?
No, the new one that.
Oh,
just came
okay,
out.
okay. I haven't seen that new one yet.
I liked it. I liked it better than the Eddie Murphy one.
Oh man, I know the Eddie Murphy one is one everybody hates and craps all over. I actually like that movie. It's a pretty.
It's a fun movie.
It's a fun movie. All right, Nate. Well, anything else you want to say about that movie, Ty?
Nope. We can move on.
All right. I guess Nate, you're next. What would be your number 5 for your Halloween season movie?
All right, so my number 5 is one that I watched when I was young, probably little. Like I probably shouldn't have watched it at my
Uh-oh.
age.
Oh no.
It was Idle Hands. It was a 1999 comedy horror, rated R, and it was an hour and 32 minutes long. I'll just quickly read this synopsis real quick. When slacker teen Anton Tobias has his right hand possessed by a demonic force, he finds that his life gets a lot more interesting. While Anton himself is an amiable guy, his hand proves to be an appendage of death, killing his 2 best buddies, Nub and Mick, who return to life as wisecracking zombies. In addition to murdering those closest to him, Anton's evil hand significantly hinders his chances with lovely neighbor, Molly.
Interesting. Ty, have you ever heard of this movie?
I have not, but I'm looking at this cast list and I see a lot of names that I recognize.
Yes.
What's the name of the movie again?
Idle Hand.
Idle
Hands.
Idle Hands.
Yes. So basically a play on like the old thing of idle hands of the devil's playground. Stay busy or you're gonna get up to trouble. And this, like Ty said, is a pretty packed cast. Anton is played by Devon Sawa. His best friends Mick and Nub are played by Seth Green and Eldon Henson.
Definitely like Seth Green.
And the neighbor Molly is played by Jessica Alba.
Oh wow.
This
So-
is actually probably the first movie I'd ever seen Jessica Alba in, and Seth Green, to be fair.
So I didn't hear if you said this. Did you? Who is P Nub? Did you say who that was?
Eldon Henson.
Yeah, he plays Foggy Nelson in Daredevil.
Yes.
He was also in the Mighty Ducks.
Mhm.
He was. Is he the big tough guy in the Mighty Ducks? The one that does?
Yeah,
the
he's one of the
knuckle buck?
Bash Brothers.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah.
one of the Bash Brothers.
That's
yeah.
pretty awesome.
Yeah, like the cast was pretty good for this.
What,
The movie
what gets
is
me?
very funny.
What gets me, Nate? Sorry to interrupt you, but
No, you're fine.
I'm looking at this cast list, and the Offspring are in this movie as themselves.
That's so funny.
Like, and Tom DeLonge from Blink 182 also plays a character in this movie.
no way.
Yeah,
I think the Offspring
Kyle Gass is in this movie?
is that the band.
yeah,
Right?
Kyle Gass.
Yeah, Burger Jungle Guy. That's funny. Mindy
Definitely
Sterling,
a-
I know who that is too.
This movie just kind of screams 90s to me.
It is. It is very much so. And like it almost has a great message of pot saving the day.
Perfect. That's very 90s.
Yeah. It is. It was just a fun movie. Probably the one of the first like comedy horrors I'd ever seen that I really got into.
Okay.
And I don't know, the friends coming back after he just brutally murdered them, and then them just acting like, oh man, it's cool.
Nate, are you
was funny
spoiling?
to me.
Are you spoiling this movie right now?
I mean, that was the synopsis.
I'm just giving you crap.
So,
I'm
no.
just giving you crap.
But I do highly recommend watching it. Sadly, I think the only thing it's on is Pluto TV.
I mean, isn't that free?
Yeah, I don't know if it actually is on there.
Oh, that's a bummer.
Because
And
every time
anything
I've
with-
tried to watch it on there, I keep getting an error or something.
And anything with ads is always terrible.
It's on
Sure.
there. I'm checking right now.
Okay, so it could just be on my end then.
Yeah.
I highly recommend if you're looking for just kind of a dumb veg out movie to watch. There you go. It's gory as hell, funny and raunchy.
Okay.
Already.
All right. So I guess that moves on to me.
Yep.
So my number 5 is one of the only ones on this list that are actually out of a franchise. And I specifically picked this one out of the franchise because it's my favorite one so far. And that is A Nightmare on Elm Street 3, Dream Warriors.
All right.
Okay.
Welcome to prime time.
Heck yeah. I think out of all the ones that I've seen so far, I haven't seen them all, but I'm making my way there. I think this is my favorite one so far.
Okay.
It's a good one. It's a really good
Yeah,
one.
I liked it.
It's very good. I loved the idea of basically like superheroes facing off against Freddy Krueger. That was
Yeah.
one of the biggest appeals to this movie for me. And-
Agreed. I definitely liked when like everybody had their own dream persona to go against him.
Exactly. Even though some of them were very short-lived.
I will say that's probably one of the more infuriating movies as well for me, because the kid who's like, I'm a wizard in the dream world got shafted so badly in that movie.
So Ty, I know you're a massive Nightmare on Elm Street guy. What would you say this is your favorite one, or which one would you be your favorite one?
Don't know if Dream Warriors is my favorite one, but it's definitely one of the high points in the franchise, I would say.
Okay. Yeah, I'm guessing that I didn't want to get into too much because I figured you might have one on your list.
We also did an episode about this movie on your podcast, and I was on that episode.
I am aware.
I don't remember what I said, and I don't want to contradict myself.
It don't matter.
But no, I love Dream Warriors. It's great. I think it's a good follow up to the first movie. I like that they brought Nancy back. I like the concept of the dream powers and stuff. You know, it's good. It's creative. I recommend it.
I feel
Yes.
like with this movie they were like, guys, forget about number 2. It didn't happen.
Basically, yeah.
Because like number 2 is good, but like I feel like
I
a
have
lot of people.
soft spot for number 2.
I feel like a lot of people don't like number 2.
It's getting a bit of a cult following in the nowadays.
But I'm surprised as to why. Like, why did people not like it when it came out?
Well, believe it or not, a lot of those movies in the Elm Street franchise and the Friday franchise, a lot of them got like really bad reviews when they came
shocker.
out. So
They're super
Yeah.
dumb and silly. Of course,
Well,
critics are gonna tear it apart.
critics really hate horror, so it's not really surprising.
Yeah, anytime I see a horror movie and they're like, "Yo, you should watch this," and I look at the reviews, I'm like, "This has like a 3 or a 2 or something." I just like ignore it because I'm like, Psh, critics hate horror movies.
Yeah.
You always have to take horror with a grain of salt. If you like,
Unless it's something like really artsy, like Get Out or something.
Well,
then like
I know I saw recently on your letterbox that you watched Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey.
yeah, that movie, it was truly awful.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
it's not on my list.
Not to get to a big tangent or anything, but why was it rated so low? Why was it so bad?
It was poorly written.
It took all of the worst elements of a cliche horror film and upped it to 1,000.
So I guess you watched it too, Nate.
I would say that's true, but also it took itself way too seriously for a movie about Killer Winnie the Pooh and
Exactly.
and the fun, I go into a movie called Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey, expecting to have a little bit of fun, but like it was like one of the most miserable movies I've watched in a long time.
That's so funny. Don't
Yeah,
worry,
it
I heard
sucks. It
I heard
sucks.
that the same people that did that movie want to do Bambi next.
Yeah, well, yeah, I probably won't watch it, to be honest.
So get back to Nightmare on Elm Street. So yeah, this movie definitely, like, I think, Nate, how far did we get on the podcast? Didn't we get up to
2 movies
5.
after that, I believe.
Yeah, so we got up to number 5. And
so you haven't done Freddy's Dead yet, then?
no, Nate said he watched all the he
Yes.
watched them all without me, because
Yes.
he abandoned me, but that's fine.
Yes. I couldn't. We went on hiatus for a bit, and I was like, I can't wait. Halloween's coming up. I want to get these knocked out.
That's all right. That's all right. I'll watch them on my own time. But yeah, out of the 5 I watched, this is definitely the best one in my opinion. Some of the deaths were so creative in this movie. Like, without getting too much spoilage, one of my favorite scenes, deaths, whatever, is the Puppet Master.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
That's a good one.
That was so unique. So yeah, that's my number 5 is the Nightmare on Elm Street 3.
Solid pick.
All right,
Uh,
back to you, Ty.
That's back to me.
Number
I think
4.
we'll keep it in the 80s. So I have on my number 4 is The Fog
The
from
Fog.
1980. Yep, it's a 1980 American supernatural horror film directed by John Carpenter, and you didn't say anything about not having movies from the same director, so
Oh, that's fine. I just didn't want. I honestly just didn't want like 5 Nightmare on Elm Street movies. That's
yeah,
basically
none of that. But we will be seeing John Carpenter's name again on my list. Don't worry.
I figured you're the horror guy. I'm expecting lots of the same styles of movies.
Yeah. So basically, The Fog, it tells the story of a strange glowing fog that sweeps over a small coastal town in Northern California, bringing with it vengeful ghosts of leprous mariners who were killed in a shipwreck there a century before. So it's like the Ghost Pirate movie. It's so first of all, why I picked this movie is that when you turn this movie on, and this is not a spoiler, the very intro scene is like a campfire and this guy is telling this story. So basically you're watching a ghost story, and that to me
It's good atmosphere.
it's good
I like that
atmosphere,
idea.
and it fits with the season in my opinion.
So
a
is
ghost
this-
story.
Is this movie like supposed to be a serious like slasher type of movie, or is this like a lighthearted type of movie?
This is not a lighthearted movie. It's not okay, so it's from 1980, so it's not like super scary or anything, but I think the vibe is really good, and I'm sure if you had watched it in 1980 it probably would have scared you. And no, it's not a slasher movie, it's like a supernatural horror movie. The ghosts are coming to get you, basically. Ghost pirates.
When you said that, it made me think of like if you watched it in the 80s, you'd probably be terrified, and it made me think of people like from the 70s that were like absolutely terrified of the movie Jaws, and now you look back and it's now rated PG, and
Yeah.
it's so corny. But back in the 70s, oh, terrifying.
Well, it's like I'm sure kids 20 years from now are going to think stuff from 2023 was
That's so
corny
true.
also,
We're so
yeah.
so numb to everything now. Like things that were supposed to be so messed up and brutal, we're just like, we see that on like the streets. It's fine.
But like I think The Fog works really well because it's basically like Scooby-Doo for adults, but without the talking dog, and the ghosts are real.
That sounds cool. I've never heard of this
Yeah,
movie.
yeah,
I kind of want to watch it.
Yeah, I really like it. I full transparency, I am a big John Carpenter fan, and I like most of his movies. But The Fog, I feel like doesn't get talked about enough. There is a remake from 2005 starring Tom Welling from Smallville. Do
No,
not watch
hey!
that one.
Oh, I'm
Yeah, that
sorry.
one is not
You
good.
said Tom Welling though. I like Tom Welling.
Yeah,
That's the
well,
one I watched.
I'll tell you what. If you absolutely have to watch the remake, at least watch the original first.
Well, I do love 80s. I grew up on 80s movies, so I would definitely probably try to watch the 80s ones first for sure.
Yeah, and like Jamie Lee Curtis is in this movie. She's from Halloween, and it's got some other people that you would see in some of his other movies, but that's the big name that you guys would know.
So,
But,
John, I don't know who you said John Carpenter is his name?
yeah,
I don't know who that is. Is he the guy who created Halloween?
yeah,
Okay.
Yeah, he directed Halloween.
Okay, that makes sense then.
We'll talk more about that later. Don't worry.
Foreshadowing.
Yeah, but yeah, that's my number 4, The Fog.
I'm gonna check that out. I'm gonna check that out for sure.
Yeah.
All right, Nate, back to you, buddy.
So my number 4 is definitely newer than the 80s. 2017 is when it came out.
Uh-oh.
It's a horror mystery.
Okay.
An hour and 36 minutes long, PG-13, and it is
That
Happy
length.
Death Day.
Oh yeah.
Dude, I've heard of this movie. I never saw it.
That's good.
Happy Death Day. Was that? Was that like more of a Was that like more of a family friendly movie?
No,
No, not at all.
but it's more comedic.
Okay, that's what I meant. It's more like comedic and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. So, as I've mentioned previously in the podcast, I'm a big fan of time travel, and whatnot, and that is exactly what this is. It is a horror film time loop movie, Groundhog's Day for Death.
Oh, you have. Okay, you've talked about this with me before.
Groundhog Day, but a slasher is chasing you.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds cool. For what you've told me back in the past, Nate, this actually sounds like something I'd like.
So I'll quickly read the synopsis just so I don't spoil anything myself because I have a habit of doing that.
Yes, you do.
Tree Gelbman is a blissfully self-centered collegian who wakes up on her birthday in the bed of a student named Carter. As the morning goes on, Tree gets the eerie feeling that she's experienced the events of this day before. When a masked killer suddenly takes her life in a brutal attack, she once again magically wakes up in Carter's dorm room unharmed. Now the frightened young woman must relive the same day over and over until she figures out who murdered her.
Oh, okay.
So yeah,
sounds pretty cool.
It is. For whenever I watch horror, what I mainly look for is comedy, gore, and violence. Those three things. But the added bonus of time travel or time loop is just icing on the cake for me.
Yeah, and a lot of people say it's basically Groundhog Day meets Scream, and I know you're a big Scream fan now, Raceland.
I am.
Very much so, actually.
And actually, I'll just say it: the sequel's pretty good too.
Definitely. The sequel does a great job of just building on to what was already the previous foundation of the first movie.
So Nate, I'm looking at this cast. I don't recognize a single person on this cast.
No, it's a lot of unknowns.
Yeah,
but,
I can't say I recognize any of them really.
Interesting. But just because somebody isn't known
what?
does not mean it's a bad movie by any means.
Yeah, like some of these people are going to be probably in other stuff because of movies like Happy Death Day.
Well, yeah, like look, I was before I go into my next one, I've actually was rewatching a few of these movies to get prepared for the podcast, and some of them were like, oh yeah, that dude moved on to like he had a small role in this movie, and he moved on to like massive stuff later on in life.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
So yeah, small roles are not always a bad thing by any means. I mean, look at the kids from Stranger Things. They didn't think that they'd be massive stars now, did they?
Well, here I'll say this: I watched, and I'll make this really quick, but I watched this movie called The House of the Devil. It takes place in the 80s. It's kind of a slasher, and there's this one woman in the movie who gets killed pretty quickly, and she's this blonde lady. And that same woman, Greta Gerwig, would go on to direct the Barbie movie, which is making billions of dollars now.
That's so funny.
Plus,
So you never know.
You also have like actors like Kevin Bacon and Johnny Depp, both had pretty not main roles.
Oh, that's true. Yeah,
Johnny
horror
Depp's was it
films,
Johnny
and
Depp's
then-
first movie, A Nightmare on Elm Street?
Yeah,
I'm pretty
he's-
sure he
yeah.
might have been on 21 Jump Street by that point, but I'm not sure.
but that was a series, I think.
But I'm
Yeah, he
just
was
saying,
doing
like
TV.
that was such a small little role as like the boyfriend of the main character, and then he became Johnny Depp of who he is now.
And then
Yeah.
the same with Kevin Bacon is he was like
In
his
Friday,
death was right off the bat.
Oh yeah, I forgot he was even in that movie.
So yeah, definitely side roles will bring you, or not always, but can definitely lead you down more prosperous paths.
It's true. All right, cool. Is it my turn now?
Yes.
All right. My number 4, like I said, I rewatched some of these movies. I rewatched this actually like 2 days ago. And it's from 1987, and it is The Lost Boys.
Ooh, I haven't
Okay.
watched it yet.
You haven't watched The Lost Boys?
No, but I have the
Whoa.
4K Blu-ray.
Dude, Ty, I think you would like this movie. It's more of a light-hearted, like, having a good time
I know what
movie.
it is. Yeah.
It's not. This is not a horror movie by any means. This is more of a comedy adventure type of movie. Wouldn't you say that, Nate? Wouldn't you say it's more like something like that? How would you define this movie?
It's been forever since I've seen. I'd have to rewatch it because
It's listed as horror comedy on Google.
It's definitely not a horror movie. Like, it's about vampires, and it's basically about like these two kids are like like, oh yeah, you gotta watch out for vampires. They're in the town, and they try to team up with the new guy to take down a vampire. It's campy as hell.
It's a very famous movie, and I actually got the 4K Blu-ray for it on sale like a week ago, so I will watch it eventually.
Who is Kiefer Sutherland is one of the vampire hunters as a kid.
No, he's one of the vampires.
Vampires, yeah.
I thought Keith. Oh, you're right. He's the head vampire. Who is the Corey Feldman? That's who I'm thinking of. Corey Feldman. Corey Feldman is Edgar Frog. He's one of the vampire boys, the vampire hunter boys. And rewatching this movie, you were just talking about minor roles. I'd forgotten that the guy from Bill and Ted is in this movie as one of the vampire's lackeys.
Oh yeah.
Oh, Alex Winter.
Yep, Alex Winter.
Yeah.
The guy who's not Keanu Reeves.
Oh.
So rough.
You don't really compare to Keanu.
I did not realize that there was another Lost Boys movie.
There are 3 Lost Boys movies.
Crazy.
Yeah, I'll probably watch the first one and not the other.
Don't be cutting those movies short. The second one is really good too. But yeah, this movie is like defines the 80s of like the atmosphere, because you got your rough and tough biker gang boys with the crazy hair with all the chains and all the all the stuff on them, like like the 80s look of like they're like the greaser biker boys type of thing. It's the punk boys. It's just so funny.
It is an interesting like perception of monster roles that I've seen shift, where like in the 80s they were more bad boy kind of characters like the biker boys and stuff like that.
Right.
But nowadays in a lot of books it's the werewolves that are bikers, and vampires are more like the white collar, like businessman CEO type characters, like American Psycho style.
Or you could have Twilight and have them sparkling.
And playing baseball.
Yep,
Yeah.
and playing baseball and resisting the urge to drink blood while listening to like Pantera and stuff.
And claiming infants as their mates. Like, oh my
That was a werewolf.
It's
not
the
a
werewolf
vampire.
that does that, actually, Nate. I just
Yeah,
want to make that very clear.
Yeah, come on, man. Get your Twilight lore down, okay?
Okay, I thought we were talking about both vampires and werewolves from the Twilight, because I mentioned werewolves.
You're the silver-eyed wolf. You're the one who brought up werewolves.
I just want to make it very clear that it is the werewolf that tries to groom
I'm glad
the
that
baby.
we
the one that was born,
completely-
the baby that was born like not even 30 minutes into life, and he was like, "That's my partner. That's my mate right there."
And then he named her Nessie, and then she got really mad because, all right, why are we talking about that?
I don't know. Someone brought up Twilight.
But yes, Ty, definitely watch The Lost Boys. It is a fantastic Halloween season, because it's not even a horror movie. It's not even a Halloween movie. It's just
Raceland, it's a horror movie. You're going to make a lot of people mad.
Stop saying it's not a horror movie.
It doesn't seem like a horror movie. It's not scary at all.
It's
You're wrong.
literally okay, if it's not that, don't put it on the list.
Yes. It doesn't have to. It's just a movie. Okay, you know what?
The Lost Boys is a horror movie. Let's move on.
Okay, continue. Next person, please.
Your
All right,
next movie, Ty.
that's me. All right, so number 3. Let's step out of the 80s and let's go to a time that we're a little more familiar with.
Okay.
The year is 1999,
Okay.
and the movie is The Blair Witch Project.
Ah, that doesn't surprise me. It's on your list.
I
No.
never finished that movie.
I've never seen this movie.
Now, The Blair Witch Project
That's not a
is
horror movie.
1999 American supernatural horror film written, directed, and edited by Daniel Myrick and Eduardo Sanchez.
Is the Blair Witch
Um,
Project the famous one where the person's puking on him?
No, that's The Exorcist.
Exorcist.
Oh, okay.
My God, Raceland.
Dude,
Blair
okay.
Witch is-
Shut up.
All right, so here, let me.
Yeah, let Ty explain what the Blair Witch one is.
Let me share. I'm going to tell you right now. It is a fictional story of 3 student filmmakers who hike into the Black Hills near Burkittsville, Maryland, in 1994 to film a documentary about a local myth known as the Blair Witch. The they disappear, but their equipment is found, and you're watching it because this is a found footage movie.
Ah, okay.
So you have to watch the footage and see why they disappeared and how it happened. And it's okay. So I'm just gonna preface: this movie is not for everybody.
Okay.
And I think that I first of all, you have to get past the found footage thing. If that's not your thing, I could
Yeah.
see
When you say
that
found,
being a very bad movie to watch.
That was the hurdle for me. Is I did not like that style of movie, and I was like,
what do you
okay.
mean by found footage style? What does that mean?
So, like, have you ever seen Cloverfield?
Oh, you talking about where it's like all in first person and stuff?
It's like a home video.
Yes, kind of. It's a home video, basically.
Oh, well then, Nate, you're not gonna like my number 2 if you don't like that style.
Okay.
It's okay.
So, but what I like about this movie, first of all, witches, Halloween. You know, it's got witches, local legends. I think the mythology behind the Blair Witch and the town of Burkittsville, Maryland, is very interesting. They only really hint at it in the movie, but there is supplementary material that was available at the time. They did a lot of viral marketing when this movie was coming out. So like they would have like websites you could go to, kind of like Cloverfield. Actually, Cloverfield copied a lot from Blair Witch, but
Didn't Cloverfield not do very well?
no, I think it did. It did fine.
I think it did well enough to get like
Two
multiple
sequels.
movies,
Yeah.
Well, I remember I saw not too much of a tangent. I saw 10 Cloverfield Lane about in the bunker. That was really good.
That's a good movie too. Yeah.
Yeah, that was a great movie.
But Blair Witch, once again, you get some good shots of like autumn leaves and stuff. They're in the woods. They're looking for a witch, local legend. I think this movie. I struggle with recommending it to people. I really like this movie. I don't know that it holds up for people in modern times.
Oh no, that's not always good.
Like I wouldn't recommend this to like a 16-year-old because I think they would think it's ridiculous.
Probably.
Yeah.
But I think that it's worth watching. It was at one point the like highest grossing independent film of all time.
Wasn't there a time where like people actually believed it was real or
Yes,
something?
that's the cool thing is that people thought it was real when it came out
Why did they think it was real?
because
It was
all
found footage
so,
style.
so like all the actors are playing characters, but they're just their names. Like Heather Donahue stars in the movie as a girl named Heather.
Okay.
Yeah.
I can see what you mean then.
So
And you said this
people-
came out, what, 1999?
Yeah.
So the internet
people-
wasn't even out to, like, be out there and be trolls at this point.
Well, like they had the websites. They also had a fake documentary on like History Channel or Sci-Fi Channel. I can't remember which one, called "The Curse of the Blair Witch," that treated everything like it was real.
Okay, now I can see why
like,
people thought it was
they
real.
set it up. They set it up perfectly, and
That's so funny.
people fell for
That's a
it.
big middle finger to everybody.
And people fell for it. But I think the movie is pretty good. I like it.
I can see you liking that, for sure.
So, one of the things that also made it was apparently they passed out missing person leaflets in real life.
That's
Yes.
so funny.
They tried really hard to get people to believe in this.
Yeah,
Why?
I will say this probably was one of the most creative and dastardly marketing campaigns for a movie
Yes.
that I've had ever seen. And it's one of the reasons why I actually gave it a chance of watching it, which allowed me to realize I'm not a big fan of that style of movie. But yeah, the marketing was genius.
I'll say this. They played a trick on everybody, and it was a treat, and that's why it's on my Halloween list.
They had
Nice.
a website.
Nice.
Yeah. And you know what? The sequel, Blair Witch, is not bad also.
Message boards and chat rooms.
There's even a Blair Witch video game. You
Heck
can
yeah. All right, cool.
play. That's all I have to say about
It's
it.
crazy.
All right, Nate. Your turn, I think. You're up.
Yes.
All right.
Yes. So my third is the top three are ones that I consider very close to me. These are the ones that I absolutely like. I highly recommend them to everyone.
Twilight.
Yeah. Zombieland from
Oh,
2009.
that doesn't surprise me at all.
All right, yeah, let's go.
I mean,
Zombie-
I guess that's Halloweenish.
Yeah.
Zombies, like it is one of the most foundational Halloween.
That's true.
monsters
Okay, you're
ever.
right. You're right.
Came out in 2009, and this movie is my all-time favorite zombie movie. It is
Mine too.
funny. It is tense in moments. It is emotional. It is great characters. Just a great setup. One of my all-time favorite things about this movie is that it actually sets up rules to survive zombie plagues and shit.
And you follow them to a T, right, Nate?
No, first off, I would die in a zombie apocalypse immediately because I would try to help somebody and end up dying.
No, that's not it. You would die because you would forget to check the back seat.
No, because I'd be sitting in the back seat. I wouldn't be the one driving.
Oh my God! So I just kind of glanced at the cast, guys. I just kind of glanced at the cast, and I didn't realize. You remember 406, the girl in 406?
Yeah.
That is Amber Heard.
Yes.
I had no idea that was Amber Heard.
Mm-hmm.
That's so funny.
It had
I remember that.
It did have a very, it had an encompassing cast. Woody Harrelson, Jesse Eisenberg, Abigail Breslin, Emma Stone, Bill Murray, Amber Heard, like you said. So yeah, it was just a great movie. I highly recommend. The second one was not as good in my opinion.
No, not at all.
I still liked it.
It was okay,
but it definitely did not quite hit the same notes. And oh man, the first one is just. It is what I recommend for anybody who wants a very good zombie movie.
Shout out to Woody Harrelson as Tallahassee, who says, "Believe it or not, Twinkies do have expiration dates."
Right? Like he's like, I'm gonna debunk this shit.
And then
So
when
funny.
It's an
he's looking for
educational
Twinkies,
movie.
and they can't find Twinkies, and he finds Snowballs, he gets really mad. He's like, "I hate coconut."
Dude, I
Not the
agree with him,
flavor,
though.
The consistency.
Dude, that's justified. Okay, snowballs are terrible. Fuck snowballs.
Man, I want to watch Zombieland now.
Dude,
Zombieland's pretty good.
hate
I give it. I like Zombieland. It's a good movie.
I agree with you, Nate. This is a good pick.
All right, that is my number 3.
My number 3 is actually a remake, and I don't know how people feel about this movie compared to the original. And that is from 2017, the movie It.
Oh,
I thought it was very good.
I had never seen the original. I still have not seen the original, but I loved this movie.
this almost made my list. Believe it or not.
Oh, that's awesome to hear. This was one of the first movies. I know you just said The Lost Boys is a horror movie, but whatever. This was one of the first movies that really got me into the horror genre. I know it was kind of late to the game because I had watched horror movies up until then. Like all the Nightmare on Elm Streets and all that stuff. I started that because you recommended it, Ty. Mm-hmm. That was way late to the game. That was last year.
I mean,
2017, I went and saw this movie in theaters. This was my first real all right, let's check out this genre. And me and my wife went. I think this movie was. I thought this movie was done very well. And the guy, I forget his name, the guy who plays Pennywise, does
Bill
it.
Skarsgård.
Yeah. Does it so well. He does such a good job as being creepy as hell. What is your guys' favorite scene in this movie? Because there's one that's coming to my mind right now.
Favorite scene in the movie?
Yeah.
This might be a bit of a surprise because I'm not going to pick a scare. But I really like the scene where they go over to Bev's and they help clean the bathroom and that song from The Cure is playing.
It's the most random. That's such a random scene.
No, I know. I just think it's really okay. So
it's very wholesome.
All right. So, not to derail your question, but what I like about it, and it's the same thing I like about Stranger Things, is that they capture that feeling of being a kid and having friends and I think it's very. It can be scary because I think the movie does have some legitimate scary moments.
I agree with all of what you're saying.
But I think it's very well written and well acted. The kids do a fucking great job.
Agreed. I think the chick who plays Beverly is gonna definitely go places.
And can't remember her name, Sophia something.
Yeah.
But,
She was in a series on Netflix I absolutely fucking loved, and they freaking canceled it. It was what was it called? I don't remember what it's called. She had superpowers, and oh man, now it's gonna bother me.
well, like it is the complete package. That movie will make me laugh. That movie will make me jump in my seat. And you know what? I'll say it. That movie will bring tears to my eyes a little bit at the end when they're talking about. Oh, I guess we can't spoil. But I hate to break the rules, but it chapter 2 is not bad either.
I was gonna ask what your thoughts about Chapter 2 were.
I like it. I think, and I understand people's complaints with chapter 2, but I think they did a good job picking adults to match the kids, and I think that it is better as the complete story, like watching chapter 1 and chapter 2 together. I like that.
So what I was saying, that series real quick is called I Am Not Okay With This. Did you guys, either one of you guys see that series?
I've heard of it, but I haven't seen it.
Dude, I loved that show. And it was only 7 episodes long, and it got canceled. And I was so angry because she did such a great job as what you were just saying about capturing, I'm a kid, some weird shit's happening to me, I'm developing these powers, I don't understand it, and I'm just trying to be a normal kid. And they captured it really well. And then they're like, yeah, no, we're going to cancel.
Her name's Sophia Lillis, and you're right. She is doing things because she was in the Dungeons & Dragons movie.
Yep, that's what I was saying, is that she's going places. No, but my favorite scene, I don't know if this is my favorite, it's the most memorable one that pops out of my head of the movie It, is the scene where they're looking over the footage.
Oh, yes.
Dude, that scene scared the crap out of me when I watched it in theaters. Nate, what about you?
About the projector.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah,
dude, that scene freaked me out when I was like, oh, god damn.
It's good, yeah.
Nate, any scene that comes to your mind about this movie?
So my favorite scene is actually them cleaning out and shaping up the little fort in the forest.
Oh, okay,
yeah.
okay. That's a good. That goes along with what Ty was saying.
Yeah,
I like a lot of the wholesome moments from it, like when they're swimming at the quarry and like the rock fight. I like the rock fight when they beat the shit out of the bullies. Yeah, it's awesome. It's like, yeah.
Dude, speaking of number 2, you were saying, Ty, it made me think of that Maze of Mirrors scene. Jesus, dude.
Oh yeah.
That scene was messed up.
I like the part where they're in the house and they have to choose between the doors where it's like scary, not scary, and a little scary or something like that. I like how much of a troll Pennywise is.
Dude, that movie's so good. That's one of the movies I didn't get a chance to rewatch. I want to rewatch that movie, man. But yeah, that was my number 3.
Go watch it right now.
Dude, that was my number 3. This is such a goddamn good movie. Yeah. I'm surprised it didn't make your list if you like it so much, Ty.
See, the problem is that I can't recommend it without recommending it Chapter 2. And I didn't want to break your rules, but no, I agree with you. It's 5 out of 5 for me.
For sure. All right, is that back to you, Ty, for number 2?
Back to me.
All
right. So let's talk a little bit about common horror tropes.
Oh boy.
I think one of the biggest ones is the trope of the cabin in the woods, and I think Nate knows where I'm going with this. Yeah. And no, it's not the movie Cabin in the Woods.
That's what I thought you were saying.
Which is okay, but no, we're gonna take it back a little bit further in time to a man named Ash Williams who goes to this cabin in the woods with his friends and is attacked by the Evil Dead.
I've never seen this movie still.
So The Evil Dead is a 1981 or 1983, depending on who you ask, American supernatural horror film.
Wait,
written.
How does that work?
It's a long story. There's actually an episode about this on our old podcast, What's Playing Tonight, and it's still uploaded if you guys really want to hear the long story.
Okay.
It was written and directed by Sam Raimi.
I know who that
is.
Would
know to go direct the Spider-Man trilogy.
Specifically Spider-Man 3, right?
He directed all 3 of them.
I know.
But yeah, Spider-Man 3. And the film stars Bruce Campbell, who did a cameo in all three of those Spider-Man movies.
That's so funny.
And basically, it's about this group of people. Story focuses on 5 college students vacationing in an isolated cabin in a remote wooded area. After they find an audio tape that, when played, releases a legion of demons and spirits, 4 members of the group suffer from demonic possession, forcing the 5th member, Ash, to survive an onslaught of increasingly gory mayhem. Now, here's the thing. I could recommend any movie in the Evil Dead franchise. I haven't seen Evil Dead Rise yet, so I can't recommend that one. But every single one before that, as far as I'm concerned, you're getting a good movie. But I'm going to stick with the original because it's the original. And I think this movie, I don't know if this is like the first instance of cabin in the woods in horror movies, but it is definitely one of the most memorable. What they did with the $5 budget that they had for this movie is pretty amazing. And like with the effects and the acting's really good. I love Bruce Campbell. And he definitely gets to be more of his usual Brucey self in the later movies. But I kind of like, doughy-eyed, inexperienced Ash in the first movie. And, it's really good. It's gory. There are some things that maybe I would have not put in the movie today. But that's what you get when you're going for watching older movies. Not everything's going to necessarily be
Not everything's PC.
Suitable
Something
for the times.
disturbing. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, that's The Evil Dead. Love it.
Nice. Good pick. Good pick. Still need to watch it.
You do.
good.
So I guess that leads to my second one, and I feel like we haven't talked enough about this. Evil Dead: Army of Darkness.
We didn't plan this,
Is that the
Let's
sequel?
go ahead. And,
but I'm glad you did.
it is the third installment of the Evil Dead franchise. It is. So for me, it's the first movie I watched in the Evil Dead franchise. It introduced me to Ash Williams. Then I later on watched Evil Dead with Ty, actually. And still Army of Darkness is the one I highly recommend for everybody. Because again, it leans into the more heroic aspect of Ash. He's no longer the doughy-eyed college boy from Evil Dead.
No, he's the one-liner.
Yeah, he's the one-liner.
Hunky, one-liner
badass.
spewing hunky badass with one arm.
Yeah. So, Army of Darkness, Ash has since left the cabin in the woods to go to the castle in the plains.
That's true. He gets transported back into medieval times.
Yes.
Okay.
Where he is aided with his legendary chainsaw and boomstick to take down an army of darkness, led by none other than spoiler. I won't say because I want most of you to go out and watch it yourself. Yeah, this is just a great movie. It definitely builds on to the Evil Dead that Ty was just talking about. And no, we did not plan this.
That's funny.
This was perfect.
And just to kind of give everybody an idea of what they're dealing with. So I would describe The Evil Dead as a horror movie. I would describe Army of Darkness as a comedy horror movie.
Yeah, makes sense.
Like starting with Evil Dead 2, they get progressively funnier and funnier.
Wackier.
Yeah, and like you're doing full on Three Stooges slapstick in Army of Darkness.
That sounds a lot like Nate for sure.
Yes, it's definitely the reason why.
I love this movie too. Like I said, you can't go wrong with Evil Dead, in my opinion.
I agree. I've seen the majority of the Evil Dead movies. I've read a lot of Evil Dead comics. I have yet to find anything that I don't like about Evil Dead.
Yeah.
All right.
Speaking of, real quick, Army of Darkness has a couple of endings, actually. a theatrical ending, a VHS ending, now DVD ending, I suppose. And the canon ending is apparently considered to be the worst ending. Ty.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they have released a comic that is now canon effect, the progression of Army of Darkness, and it mentions how it is now the worst like timeline that Ash could have lived in.
Oh, okay. All right. How does
So,
that
yeah.
work with the TV show? All right, we don't have time for
Yeah,
this.
yeah. Well, I can't go into that then.
Yeah. Yeah.
You are up now, Raceland.
All right. So my number 2 is a movie I don't think you've ever seen, Nate. I know Ty, you saw it because we talked about it. It's called As Above, So Below.
Ah, yes.
Nate, have you ever even heard of this movie?
Yes, I've heard of it. I have not seen it though.
So
I've actually actively avoided watching because I usually don't like just straight up horror movies.
Well, let me explain a little bit about this movie. This what did you call this earlier, Ty? What style is this? It's the
Found footage.
found footage. Okay, so it is that style of movie, but basically, I'm not reading the synopsis. I just wrote my own synopsis. This group of people go searching for the Philosopher's Stone, which is the ancient stone that.
Oh, Full Metal Alchemist.
Yeah. And they accidentally fall into the gates of hell, where they have they have to face some of their deepest fears in a small tunnel surrounded by millions of corpses. Because this whole this movie is set in the catacombs under Paris.
Okay.
And so yeah, basically they are in search of the Philosopher's Stone, make a very big wrong turn, and end up in hell. And this movie has everything I love. It has treasure hunting, supernatural, mystery, and demons. I mean, sounds like a great movie for me.
Yeah.
I just want to start off by saying that this is a horror movie.
Yeah, it's definitely a horror movie.
in case that was in question for anybody. This is an actual horror movie, and I do think it's a little scary, actually.
You think this is scary?
I watched it probably back in 2014.
This came out
remember jumping a
2014?
couple times. Yeah.
Dude, I didn't see what time when it came out. I just saw it was on Prime and I watched it.
No, I watched it. I didn't watch it in theaters, but I watched it probably. Yeah, it's probably about.
I
guess
think
it
I
was
saw
10
this in
years
theaters. Maybe not. I don't know. I
I think
remember.
this movie has a couple scares in it. It's been a long time since I've watched it, so I might be misremembering it, but
I do know that there are some scenes towards the end that I was like, "Ooh, damn."
yeah.
But one of the things I love about this movie, like I stated, is the fact that it's really psychological too. Like they don't know where they're at. They don't know what's going on, and all of a sudden there's something random happens that's like triggering to whoever's character's past, and they have to face it or die, basically.
Yeah.
And it was crazy. Also, fun fact, Nate, the guy from Superstore is in this movie. The main character from Superstore. Did you ever watch that show?
I did not.
Oh, I
So
thought
fun
you did.
fact.
I thought you did watch it. My fault. So yes, this movie is fantastic. Nate, you're not gonna like it at all. I don't think.
No, it does not sound like something I would entertain.
No, but I love this movie, and I would say this is one of my favorite horror movies of all time for sure. So yeah, that's what my number 2 is. As Above, So Below. Anybody wants to check it out, you should.
All right.
Alrighty. I see.
So we
So
are
I guess
now
that's-
on to Ty.
I suppose that's me then.
Our number 1s. Everybody's number 1 pick.
So I'll start this with I met him 15 years ago.
Oh,
I was
I
told
already
there
know where
was
this is
nothing
going.
left.
Yeah.
No reason, no conscience, no understanding, and even the most rudimentary sense of life or death, of good or evil, right or wrong. I met this 6-year-old child with this blank, pale, emotionless face and the blackest eyes, the devil's eyes. And of course, we're talking about Michael Myers, specifically the 1978 original Halloween.
Now,
Nice.
before you dive into this movie,
All
I am
right.
shocked that Friday the 13th didn't make your list.
See,
I thought maybe
Now-
I wasn't sure which way this was going when you were doing your little spiel about your number one. If it was going to be Michael Myers or if it was going to be Friday the 13th.
So the thing about me is that of all the slasher franchises, Halloween takes the top for me.
Okay.
I was talking to our buddy Mario about Friday the 13th because he said that him and his wife were going to watch the Friday the 13th movies this year, and they haven't gotten around to it. So I said, you want my advice? Watch Friday the 13th in the summer because summer camp, summer vibes, I think it just works better for that.
I can see that.
Okay. Yeah.
But this movie is literally called Halloween.
Yes, it is the spirit.
This movie
I don't know
takes
if I don't know if this
on Halloween.
I don't know if this movie qualifies for my list, buddy.
It qualifies. So, unlike The Evil Dead, I will not recommend this entire series. I'm just recommending the original. And
Yeah, I know my wife-
really like.
I know my
If
wife
you
saw.
like-
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Well, I was just gonna say, if you like this, some of the sequels are pretty good. Some of them are pretty bad.
Yeah.
I can find enjoyment out of all of them, but that's me.
My wife likes this franchise, and she's not a horror movie buff at all, but she enjoys this franchise, and she saw the newest one and was not too happy about it.
Yeah. So, just to give you guys a little bit of an idea, Halloween is basically the story of a guy who kills his sister in 1963 and then goes to asylum for several years until 1978, where he breaks out and goes back to his hometown and kills people.
That's
And that guy is Michael
self-explanatory.
Myers.
Pretty.
Yeah, that's really,
pretty much
it's
it.
very straightforward. It's probably one of the most straightforward movies that we have on this list. There is nothing too complicated about the original Halloween.
And you got the
Um,
iconic music that goes with this movie.
Now, yes, the iconic music directed by John Carpenter, and John Carpenter did the music too.
Awesome.
And I could go on talking about this movie for way too long, but I'm not going to.
we don't have time for that.
because I'm the only one who's seen it. We don't have time for that. However,
Nate, you never saw
Nate,
this?
I have not, but I will be seeing it soon.
Oh.
yes, he and I are going to the movie theater next weekend.
Oh.
to see it.
I must have lost my invitation or something.
Do you want to go at 9 p.m. at night?
Not on a weekday.
I didn't think so.
But no, I am excited to go watch it for the first time in theaters.
It's pretty cool, actually.
I even was thinking I went to Johnny Brock's, I think is that the Halloween
Yes,
store?
it is. That is how.
It's either that or Spirit, yeah.
Yeah, I went there and I saw they had a T-shirt thing, and one of them was just a bunch of Halloween themed T-shirts. When one of my favorites was H is for hello, but then it was a picture of Michael Myers waving to someone with a knife and a head in his other hand.
Oh, there you go.
Nice.
And then one I was actually planning on getting Utah, but all they had it one was extra small.
That wouldn't work.
There's like
I get you, Ty. I understand.
it was like, bitch, get in, we're going slaying.
That's funny.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, don't worry. I have my own Halloween shirt to wear.
I figured.
I actually just recently bought a Nightmare on Elm Street shirt. That was pretty.
nice.
I very much enjoyed that shirt.
I'm a huge fan of this franchise. I own every single movie.
Don't you own multiple copies of these movies?
I actually own two. I own at least 3 copies of the original Halloween.
Why so many
Because-
copies?
Well, okay, so back in the day, I got like the 20th anniversary Blu-ray when it came out, and then when I saw they put it on digital, I wanted it so I wouldn't have to put the Blu-ray in.
Because you're lazy
so I
or
bought-
something, or what? How hard is it to
No,
put a
I don't
disc
know.
in?
Just I don't know. I just wanted it, so I bought it. And then whenever Scream Factory or Shout Factory came out and did their collection, I bought the 4K collection. So now I have a 4K copy of Halloween. Also.
And how much did that run you?
It was a pretty good penny. It was a pretty penny.
I can.
It
only
wasn't all the
imagine.
movies either. I had to buy the second collection they put out. With the
Oh
rest of the
my
movies.
God, Ty! You own 3 copies of this. You don't need to buy more.
No. The second collection came with different movies, but now I
Okay.
have the whole set. The only ones I don't have are the 2 Halloween remakes from Rob Zombie.
Okay.
But they are not released on 4K yet. They're also not very good, but if they put them on 4K, I'll probably get them.
You have an addiction, buddy.
I do. I even have these. I have these Halloween pens or pins, whatever. Not the ones that you write with, like you would stick them on. Stuff.
Right.
I don't even know what I would do with these, but I have them. So
There you go.
I also have Michael Myers Funko Pop
That makes
sitting
sense.
on my desk. Yeah.
Nice.
Yep. It's an obsession. It's an
can understand.
unhealthy relationship.
I can understand. I hear people have those with like animals, and
Wolves.
it's weird. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's weird.
All right.
But yeah, that's my number one. It shouldn't shock anybody. It, in my opinion, is the very spirit of Halloween.
Makes sense.
I didn't even get to talk about why, but just trust me, it is. All right, y'all can go now.
All right, Nate, you're up, buddy. What's your number 1?
All right, so my number 1 is my all-time favorite, like horror film. It is The Frighteners.
I've never heard of this movie.
I've heard of it.
Uh,
I've never seen it.
Yeah, it is. It is just a really good, funny horror comedy.
This is so Nate to pick the most random movie no one's seen.
I mean,
Actually, Raceland, I think you would like this movie.
yeah,
Would I?
I really do think you would. The main actor is Michael J. Fox.
Okay, real quick. Speaking of Michael J. Fox, I was expecting Teen Wolf as your number 1.
Well, Teen Wolf, while I do like it, it is. I was trying to go with something that had a bit more spookiness to these movies.
Okay.
For this list specifically.
All right.
It is one of my favorites. It would be probably my top 10,
Okay.
but we went to 5 this round.
Right. So this Frighteners.
Yes, The Frighteners. So let me just read the synopsis real quick. Once an architect, Frank Bannister, Michael J. Fox, now passes himself off as an exorcist of evil spirits. To bolster his facade, he claims his special gift is the result of a car
That
accident.
word is pronounced facade, Nate.
Okay, facade. You know what? Thank you, Ty. I always look to better myself.
You're welcome, buddy. I'm sorry.
Facade. No, it's okay.
I love you.
Love you too, bro. The result of a car accident that killed his wife. But what he does not count on is more people dying in the small town where he lives. As he tries to piece together the supernatural mystery of these killings, he falls in love with the wife of one of the victims and deals with a crazy FBI agent. So yeah, it is a funny movie while also having some pretty intense moments. Michael J. Fox kills it in this. No pun intended on it.
Nice. I see what you did there.
One of the things.
It's a scary good performance, huh?
Oh, you're slaying
Very
over
much
there.
So one of the things I actually didn't know until I looked into the movie for this podcast was that it was directed, written by, and produced by Peter Jackson, the guy
Oh,
who
yeah.
did the Lord of the Rings movies.
Nah. Okay.
It is. This is the movie. This is probably the first horror movie that I accepted of enjoying. It is. I never really considered myself a fan of horror whatsoever, mainly because I have comedy mixed into them, so I never really thought of them as horror films. But this one, it's just so good. If you're a fan of Michael J. Fox, you're going to love this movie. There is not a doubt in my mind. So yeah, I highly recommend it.
Nate, I specifically titled this the way I did because I knew you didn't like horror movies. I expected a lot more comedies on your list.
I mean, all of the ones I listed were comedy aspects.
Oh, I was thinking more like I was expecting more like happy-go-lucky type of movies that had Halloween themes.
Like Hubie Halloween.
Yeah, stuff like that, or like Nightmare Before Christmas or something like that.
Yeah, so I actively avoided those because I wanted to go with movies that had more gore, which is one of the things I look for in a horror film, in a Halloween style movie.
Okay, that makes sense.
Like Hubie Halloween, okay, I liked it. It wasn't the best Adam Sandler, but I wouldn't recommend it to anybody really.
I still haven't seen it.
Yeah.
I think it's worth watching at least once. And you know me, I'm very picky about my dumb movies. I liked Hubie Halloween. It was fine.
Okay.
For anybody interested in watching The Frighteners, it is free on Tubi.
Oh, there you
but
go.
if you have a Peacock subscription, then it is also on there. Well, I was saying Peacock, and then I started saying prescription, and I was like, that's not the right word.
Peacocks, you know, when the peacocks become police officers, they become peacocks.
I would watch that movie.
Definitely. Just be flaring their feathers out to mess with them. So yeah, that is my number one movie. Definitely recommend anybody to watch it. It is from 1996, rated R, considered a fantasy horror, and it is an hour and 50 minutes long.
Nice. All right. Well, I guess that brings me to the final movie, my number one.
What you got, Raceland?
Is it any surprise, Ty, what my number one could possibly be?
Scooby-Doo on Zombie Island.
Dude, you nailed it. 100%. Podcast over, guys. We're done. No. It's obviously the movie Scream.
Oh, yeah. Scream.
Both of you, I knew what your number ones were going to be.
Yeah, they were. Mine was very obvious. So was Ty's.
To be fair, Nate, I knew what your number one was going to be also.
That's because us three know each other very well.
Very true.
People not listening, Ty, you are the one who introduced me to the Scream franchises. Because back, like you said, you used to do a podcast called What's Playing Tonight, and one of your movies was Scream. And I was like, oh, I should watch that so I can get familiar with the movie I'm about to listen to Ty talk about. So I watched Scream, and I immediately fell in love with this movie. This movie was like, this is probably one of the greatest movies ever made. Honestly.
Yeah, sure. Why not?
I will say it is probably one of the best movies ever made, pointing out and making fun of all of the flaws other horror movies
Exactly. It doesn't take itself seriously at all, but that's what makes it so good.
It's certainly one of the most influential movies ever made.
But it is also one of the reasons why I can't stand the franchise.
Oh, I love the franchise. I've seen every single Scream movie at least 3 times.
You know what? Most of them are pretty good.
No, all of them are. They're all good. Shut up, Ty. There are some that are stupid, but that makes them good still.
Hey, I like Scream 3. It's fine.
It's a fun movie.
Yeah.
I knew which one you were talking about.
Scream is the original Scream is a 5-star movie.
5. If I could do 6, I would.
And it is one of the most influential movies ever made.
I think Scream is actually my favorite franchise, to be honest. Like movie franchise.
It's a solid pick. And
it's basically okay. So people that don't know what Scream is, which I don't know how you don't, because it's very, very much in media nowadays. The movie is basically, as I would put it, as an adult Scooby-Doo. It's somebody going around they're killing people, and you basically the entire movie are trying to figure out who the killer is.
It's like a horror whodunit.
Exactly. And the Ghostface icon is just very iconic at this point. Everybody knows who Ghostface is. Yep. And I mean, I guess this is kind of a spoiler, but like I like the beginning how they had a very famous actress be in the movie thinking, oh, she's the lead of this movie, and then that's just not the case at all. I don't know. I thought that was entertaining when I first watched it.
They got that from Psycho, but yeah, you're right.
I had never seen Psycho. Again, I think a lot of the reasons why I like this movie is because I don't know all the things they're making fun of.
My favorite part of the movie is where Ghostface calls Shorty, and like Shorty is smoking a blunt, and he's like, "What's up?"
Nope, wrong movie, buddy.
Oh, is that Scary Movie?
Yeah, that's the movie making fun of this movie.
Oh, okay. No, but I'm
That's the
giving
one I
Raceland a hard time, but I really do like this movie also.
Dude, there's so many huge actors in this movie that had small roles. Henry Winkler was in this freaking movie.
Yeah.
Yes, he was. Yeah.
He was the principal. That role didn't last long, but he was in this movie.
I like how Wes Craven, the director, is in the movie as a janitor named Freddy wearing a Freddy sweater.
Oh, for sure. I loved that because I just
Yeah.
watched Nightmare on Elm Street before I watched this movie.
Now you gotta give it to Wes Craven. He came up with, two highly successful horror franchises. Yeah.
So, Ty, are you gonna watch every single Scream movie they make?
Yeah, you know what? If they keep making them, sure, I'm gonna keep watching them. I really liked the last Scream.
Dude, the one that was in New York, that was a freaking
Yeah.
awesome movie. That one
Yeah,
was great.
I liked the one before that. I liked all of them. Really.
I like them.
mean,
Even number 3.
even number 3. It's stupid, but I like it.
It's that. Hey, stupid does not mean bad.
Hey, like I said, I like some Halloween movies that are really bad.
Didn't you guys pick Evil Dead, which is known for being stupid and silly?
Yeah, but on purpose.
Yeah, it does not take itself seriously.
Neither does Scream.
Hey, look, I'm not gonna argue with you about Scream 3. I already said I liked it.
I know.
It's like,
I just feel like I have to defend it. But no,
No, you don't. You really don't.
but yeah, Scream. I had to limit it to the first one because, like I said, I wish I could put all of them on there. But the first one is definitely the best. We can agree on that, right, Ty?
I can agree with that. Yeah.
Yeah. It's just
I'm feeling a little woozy here.
yeah. Some of the characters are just so they do their roles so well. I'm not gonna say who they are because that gets into spoiler territory, but some of them play their roles just so perfectly that it's like if I saw these roles with any different people, different actors, it wouldn't hit the same, you know?
Yeah. Without spoiling, definitely like Matthew Lillard to me is
Yeah.
probably the top performance in that
Oh,
movie.
100%. He's the best actor in this movie.
I really like Jamie Kennedy too, though, as Randy, the horror nerd who has the
Yes.
rules. And,
Yes. Hey,
and I
Nate,
like Sydney.
rules.
I like all the characters.
Nate,
Yeah.
rules. He rules to survive a horror movie. There you go.
It's true. Yeah.
But they fail at following those rules. So
I mean-
much.
Otherwise, you don't have a movie.
I know. I understand. But
Also, the rules are not necessarily like. It's like Captain Barbossa says in Pirates of the Caribbean: The Curse of the Black Pearl. They're more like guidelines, actually.
Would you consider Pirates of the Caribbean acceptable on this list?
You know what? Yeah, I would.
yeah, I mean the pirates were zombies in the first one.
Well,
Yeah, they're
damn,
like
I would
skeleton
have
pirates.
rearranged my list if I would have known that, but that's okay.
I mean, I wouldn't put it on there, but it's.
Yeah, it's not. It would not be on my list.
Come on,
but
guys,
I-
gotta
You
get
can
through it.
absolutely watch Curse of the Black Pearl if you really want to.
I mean, why you guys gotta hate on Pirates of the Caribbean, man?
it's not
nobody
hating.
is.
It's not really. We wouldn't put it on our
I s-
list of Halloween movies.
I still think number 3 is my favorite of the Pirates movies.
yeah.
But yeah, anyways, that I think that does it for the podcast.
I hope so. Yeah.
What does that mean?
I don't want to talk about Pirates of the Caribbean.
we're not talking about Pirates of the Caribbean.
I mean,
Yeah, we're not talking about pirates.
we did mention Johnny Depp, so you know it's all full
That's
circle,
true.
guys.
Yeah, fair
Sure.
enough.
All right, so that does it for the podcast. Ty, thank you so much for coming on the podcast. I feel like you had to for the spooky season.
No, thank you for having me. I love talking about this stuff specifically, and I'm always happy to join you guys for whatever, you know.
And for all you
I
guys listening out there, how many little there actually are, make a comment on what you guys think is the best Halloween style movie, and because I like reading your guys' comments and seeing what you guys think. Anything you guys like to say? Anything you like to plug, Ty?
No, I don't necessarily make content anymore, but I will say I'm going to comment on your video, and I'm going to give you 5 other things.
Okay, that's fine by me. Hey,
Just because I like talking about this stuff.
And it's
As
just gonna
a
be- it's gonna
special
be-
guest and as a listener.
it's gonna be
Exactly.
It's going to be this like Friday the 13th 1 through 5, and then going to have another one of of Halloween 2 through 6.
I don't have that much time.
I'm gonna go down there and just put pages and pages of movies.
You just put the entire Wikipedia of Halloween on the comment.
I might.
God.
Just put a link to the whole movie. Make sure people watch.
Yeah,
it.
you just like find it like somebody uploaded on YouTube, just the entire movie, just put that in the comment section.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
All right, well, thank you guys again, and we'll see you guys on the next episode of the podcast. See you later.